Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Rav.
How's it? How are you, everyone?
We're all fine, thank you. How are you, Rav?
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Oh, Dr. Les with us.
Mark is there.
Hello, Jeffrey. How are you?
Oh, thank God, all good. I'm still so taken up with a new respect for tzitzis. Total new respect.
Okay. Dr. Les, giving us the news. Please give us the news about Eretz Israel.
Okay, so this, it is quite amazing. You know, yesterday, it was the night of the 9th and the 10th that we, in 1938, there was a Kristallnacht. I don't know if they spoke about it in South Africa. And I've been amazingly fortunate to actually meet with survivors, people that remember, they actually remember being in Germany and seeing what was happening on Kristallnacht. And there's a family, Werner Lowell, that because of Kristallnacht, his father was taken to Dachau, and the family decided they had to leave. And it actually, in a way, saved their lives. But it's amazing that, you know, we remember what happened and the devastation afterwards. And yet in England, a few days ago, the Israeli ambassador, Tzipi Hataveli, she's a from woman. She covers her hair. She's amazing. I met her. So she's the Israeli ambassador there. And she was speaking at the London School of Economics. And when she left, they had to actually escort her because the mob were going to like lynch her. It was and there was such anti-Semitism going on there in the middle of London. It's just unbelievable. So it's like, what have we learned from, you know? But you know, the nice thing, Rob, and I'm sure your son knows it, and everybody who's here, you didn't walk around in Eretz Israel and you feel free. You know, it's amazing. You don't have to worry about anti-Semitism. It's the most amazing feeling that you can walk with your tzitzit hanging out, your kippot. Here we home. We must show home here. And you feel it. You really do.
No, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. I'm so happy to hear that. And the most important is that we must never forget. We must never forget. We have to learn to forgive, but we must never forget. Yeah, that's very important.
It's bechol davar abdu aleinu in every generation, and it's true.
Amdim aleinu lechalotenu. Yeah. It's just different people.
Thank you, Rash.
Anyway, Yisher Koach, Dr. Les, thank you very much for the good news. We're going to start the show because we already a bit running late because here in South Africa, we hardly have electricity. I don't know what's the story. Please God, the Kadosh Baruch Hu will have mercy on us. So let's start with show. We're going to dedicate the show in honor of Esther Kaden Bat Ketzia, Mordechai ben Rahma, Rav Avraham ben Eliezer Yaakov, Tamar bat Zeava, Rachel bat Malka Sultana, Yaakov Salomon ben Farha, Dvorah Ruth bat Bela, Vechaim Eliyahu ben Ishayahu. Please God that the show will be to uplift their soul. Also, we're going to dedicate the show of Refuah of Liora bat Miriam, Menashe Naji ben Farha, Orna Bluma bat Miriam, Harav Avraham ben Marina, Harav Shlomo Yehuda ben Dalia, Harav Moshe ben Devorah, Itan ben Adasa, Israel ben Zisa, Mordechai David ben Leah, Dvorah bat Esther, Sarah Dvorah bat Elka, Chadok ben Sarah, Shulamit bat Haya Sheina Leah, Aryeh ben Gitol, Sarah Rivka bat Yehudit. So please God that the show will be in the health of those one and Klal and Sha'ar Holei Amo Israel bechol makom shehem. Okay, we're going to do Parashat Vayeitzei. I'm going to start with the introduction to the Parasha. And we start like this. In the year 2184 for the creation, Yaakov Avinu unfortunately have to leave Beersheba in the age of 77, and he have to run to Haran. The main reason for it is because we know that Esav wanted to kill him. And the same day, a miracle happened that the sun set 2 hours earlier. We'll speak about it later on in the show. And Yaakov Avinu fell asleep in Har Moriah. Okay, in Har Moriah, he had the famous dream that we're going to speak about it today. I'm going to try to understand what does mean the stepladder that he dreamed about it. The stepladder that he see in his dream, a stepladder that the legs facing here on earth, standing on earth, but the rest, the top of the stepladder touching the heaven, and the angel of HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually climbing up and down on the stepladder. And what does that mean? Be'ezrat Hashem, we try to explain every day to the Neshama. HaKadosh Baruch Hu revealed himself to Yaakov Avinu in his dream, and he promised him that he will be with him wherever he will go. Okay, and not only that, the land that he's sleeping on, he will give it to him and his descendants. Yaakov Avinu, after that, the Torah tells us, left to Haran and meet Rachel Imenu by the well, and that was in the year 2186 for the creation. Okay, and he started, in the same year, he started working for Lavan, his cousin, the father of Rachel and Leah. In the year 2191, Yaakov Avinu actually married Leah. 7 days later, he married Rachel, and the same year, he also took Zilpah and Bilhah, that there was the servant of Rachel and Leah. Just to let you know that when Yaakov Avinu married Leah and Rachel, he was in the age of 84, when Rachel and Leah was 22 years old. Look at that, 62 years different between them. After that, the Torah speak about the birth of the 11 tribes that we know that in Haran, overseas, 11 tribes been born. And in the year 2200 from the 2205 from the creation, 2205 from the creation, Yaakov Avinu decided that it's enough. He has to leave the house of Lavan. He sent Naphtali to call the wife and all of his kids, and he decided that he's leaving the house of Lavan. After 7 days that he left the house of Lavan, Lavan heard about it, and he chased Yaakov Avinu, and he managed to catch him up in 1 day. What took Yaakov Avinu 7 days journey, Lavan made it in 1 day. And the same night, HaKadosh Baruch Hu appearing to Lavan and warned him not to harm Yaakov Avinu and not to do anything to him. When Lavan and Yaakov met, Lavan complained to Yaakov, how come that you live without telling me? You just get up and leave without telling me what's happening here. We see something very interesting that after that, Lavan asked Yaakov Avinu, why did he take his statues? That means, why did he take all of his idols? We'll speak about it also in the show. He just didn't realize that, as a matter of fact, it was Rachel Imenu that stole the statue from him. And it wasn't Yaakov Avinu. It was Rachel that took the statue, and she will speak about it. She sit on it, she put him underneath the cushion of the camel, and she'll sit on him. And there's a reason why she sat on him. We'll explain everything Be'ezrat Hashem in a show. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach, ve'Hashem alenu berachamav v'yarbiach, Parashat Vayeitzei. Vayeitzei Yaakov mibe'er shava vayelech harana. Louis, unmute yourself.
Yeah, and Jacob departed from Beersheba and went towards Haran.
Okay, here the Torah tells us that, as a matter of fact, Yaakov departed. Where is he going? To Haran. In English, it's Haran. In Hebrew, it's also Haran, but it say here in the Parsha, it's Harana. We have to understand why the letters Hey. We're going to speak about it. Why didn't it say Haran? It should say Vayeitzei Yaakov, Vayelech mi Be'er Sheva, Vayelech Haran. No, it's Harana. Why Dafka Harana? We'll see what's hiding behind everything. But first we have to understand, it says Vayeitzei Yaakov. Yaakov left. In English, it's called departure. Okay, they want to call it departure, I understand. But what does it mean, Vayeitzei? So we see something very interesting in Rashi HaKadosh. Rashi said that when it says Vayeitzei Yaakov, okay, it's tell you something very interesting. What did Rashi tell us? Rashi tell us something very interesting. Magid sheitziat tzadik min hamakom osa roshem. What does it mean? When a righteous person leave the departure from his own place, it make a great impression on a place that he left. And immediately many of the Mefarshim say, what does it mean, making impression? The word impression is very, very important here. Because impression means that Vayeitzei, that if someone left the city of Beersheba, when Yaakov left it, it's making impression. Immediately all the Mefarshim say, whoa, what's happening here? When Avraham Avinu left Haran, he didn't say Vayeitzei Avraham, he said Vayelech Avraham. So why here it says Vayeitzei? Many of the Mefarshim ask. So today, Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm going to bring the comment of Hatam Sofer. Hatam Sofer is Rabbi Moshe Sofer. He born in the city of Frankfurt in Germany. He born 258 years ago. And he says something very interesting, the Hatam Sofer said. He said, you have to understand, when Yaakov Avinu left Beersheba, who did he left with? He lived with Yitzhak Avinu and his mother Rivka. That was righteous people. When Avraham Avinu left Haran, who he lived with? He lived with idol worshippers, with pagans. He said, therefore, when Avraham Avinu left Haran, it didn't make any impression. Why? Because the people that lived in Haran didn't appreciate Avraham Avinu. Why? Because all they have in mind, they was pagan. So there was idol worshippers. They have nothing else in their mind. So when Avraham Avinu left Haran, it didn't make any impression on him that a tzaddik left. But when Yaakov Avinu left Beersheba, you know who lived with him? Yitzhak Avinu, that was a righteous man. Rivka Imenu, that was a righteous man. And they felt that when Yaakov Avinu left, they felt something different. They felt that there is no more something righteous in the town. What does it mean? That Yitzhak Avinu was a great righteous man, but next to him was his son, that was also a righteous man. And these two, the mother and the father, it's made such a great impression on him that suddenly that the kids not with him, it's make a lot of impression on him. And that's what Rashi come to tell us. You know why with Avraham Avinu, it didn't make any impression? Because all of his generation, all the people that lived in Haran, until then was idol worshippers. Avraham Avinu needed what to do? To convert him to believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But in Yitzhak Avinu, the house was a house of religion, was Rivka Imenu. The education was different. And suddenly when Yaakov Avinu decided to leave Beersheba, it make a great impression. And that's what Yaakov Avinu said. That's what the Torah said, that it's make a great impression on who, Rashi said? Explain Rabbi Moshe Sofer, on who? On his father and his mother, Yitzhak and Rivka. Another question that we have to ask, Why does it say Vayeitzei Yaakov? It should say Vayered Yaakov. We know that whenever a person left Eretz Israel, when he departs from Eretz Israel and he go to another country, it's called Yerida. What does it mean, Yerida? Yerida, it means going down. Going down where? It's spiritually lowering down, because Eretz Israel, not necessary that it's the highest place. Like when a person leave his country and go to Eretz Israel, we always say, Ose Aliyah. Why you call it Aliyah? Not because Eretz Israel higher than Johannesburg, not necessary. The opposite, because you're leaving and you're going up. When you say Aliyah, it's spiritually, because Eretz Israel spiritually above all the other country. So I saw a beautiful comment that been asked by Rabbi Levy Yitzhak Bardichov. Rabbi Levy Yitzhak Bardichov, born 281 years ago. He born in a city of Otsowik in the Ukraine, Otskiv in the Ukraine. And he asked the question, listen to his question. If you're telling me that it said Vayeitzei Yaakov mi Be'er Sheva, and Yaakov departs from Be'er Sheva, the opposite, you should say Vayered Yaakov mi Be'er Sheva vayelech Harana, and he gone to a different country. So why does it say here that Yaakov departs, and it doesn't say Vayered? That's a very famous question. So to answer that, we first have to understand that when we say Aliyah, we explain that Eretz Israel, spiritually, above all the other countries, there's no country that can reach to that level of Eretz Israel. Eretz Israel, spiritually above all the other countries. But what's happened here? Say Rabbi Levy Yitzhak Bardichov. He said, when Yaakov Avinu departs from Be'er Sheva, Har HaMoriah. Where is Har HaMoriah? We'll see something very interesting in the next verse. You'll see something very interesting. Har HaMoriah is where is Bet HaMikdash. Yaakov Avinu slept there. What does it mean it slept there? That on the same day that Yaakov Avinu left Eretz Israel, Har HaMoriah left with him and reached with him to Haran. Listen to that. That means that the holiness of Israel departed with Yaakov Avinu to Haran. Do you understand that? You don't understand the holiness of Yaakov Avinu. And Yaakov Avinu was Behir Sheba'avot. What does it mean, Behir Sheba'avot? The chosen one amongst the forefathers. Now, you have to understand, why did I brought Har HaMoriah? Har HaMoriah is where is Bet HaMikdash today. And you'll see just now, I'm going to move to the next verse after we finish first verse 10, and we'll see something very interesting there. How the Torah hint to us which festival we're going to be and where. So let's finish first our verse. And then it said, Vayelech Haran, and he gone to Haran. But in Hebrew, it doesn't say Haran, it says Harana. There is an adding up of the letters 5. 5 in Gematria, hey in Gematria is 5. And many of the Mefarshim say, why dafka this letter adding up? So I'm going to bring a commentary of, it's actually, the commentary brought by Rabbi Yaakov Baal Turim, but it's not his commentary. He bringing actually, what do you call it? Yonatan ben Oziel, we'll speak about it. But he said from that it said Vayelech Harana, it means Vayelech, he said Gematria bo bayom, in the same day. What does it mean in the same day? In the same day, say Rabbi Yaakov Baal Turim. Rabbi Yaakov Baal Turim, born in Germany 752 years ago. He says something interesting. Take the Gematria of Vayelech, it means bo bayom, in the same day. That means in the same day that Yaakov Avinu departs from Be'er Sheva, He arrived where? In Haran. Just to give you understanding where is Haran, Haran from Israel is the distance from Israel to Kurdistan, Iraq. It's very in the border. It's like in the border of Iraq and Kurdistan. It's very close also to Turkey. So that means if you want to fly, it's at least 3 hours flight. How Yaakov Avinu walk from Eretz Israel to Haran and arrive on the same day? Hazal explained Kfitzat HaDerech. The mystical rabbi explained that there is what we call Kfitzat HaDerech. There is the holy name, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu make you a miracle and you come to there. Maybe I'll tell you a story. The Rashash, Rabbi Shalom Sharabi. Rabbi Shalom Sharabi born in Sharab. Sharab is a city in Yemen. And he was a great tzaddik. And every Friday, he was one of the Kabbalistic, straight after Ari HaKadosh, he started Yeshivat Bet El, Yeshivat HaMkubalim Bet El in Eretz Israel. And every Friday night, he used to do Kfitzat HaDerech, and he used to daven in the Kotel HaMa'aravi and return back to Yemen. That means he used to daven Minha and Kabbalat Shabbat and Arvit Shel Shabbat in the Kotel and return back. We don't understand that. That's very high spiritually. And you have to know the holy name, the special secret name, Shema Meforash, that you have to use, and you can use it. Anyway, so say here, Rabbi Yaakov Baal HaTurim, what does it say? Vayelech, it's Gematria Bo Bayom, in the same day. So from here you learn that Yaakov Avinu actually arrived where? In Eretz Israel, from Eretz Israel to Haran in the same day. Okay, but then it says something very strange. Harana. Why Dafka Harana? Why doesn't say to Haran? So we say that the letters Hey in Gematria is 5. I saw a beautiful commentary that bring Rabbi Maimon Ben Attar. Rabbi Maimon Ben Attar, born in the city of Maknes in Morocco, and he born 154 years ago in Morocco. And he actually bring what Yonatan ben Oziel, not Rabbi, Yonatan ben Oziel. Okay, Yonatan ben Oziel lived, just to give you history, 10, 15 years before the destruction of the Second Temple, and he was the student of Hillel. And if you look, there is a commentary, and aside, some of the Mefarshim bring Yonatan ben Oziel. That's what it's called, or Pirush Yonatan ben Oziel. That's the commentary that translate the Aramaic to Hebrew. And there, Yonatan ben Oziel say that you know why it was the adding up the letters Hey, that Gematria 5, and it didn't stay just normal Haran, and it say Harana. It's to tell you that 5 miracles happened to Yaakov Avinu in the same night, on the same day that he fled, not the same night, the same day. What happened? Listen what Yonatan ben Oziel said. He said the first miracle happened, and we'll speak about it also in the show, that the day got shortened by 2 hours. The same day that he left, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu changed the sequence of the world. What does it mean? That the sun set 2 hours earlier. The second miracle, that the 4 stones that Yaakov Avinu put under his head turned to 1. When he wake up in the morning, he saw 1 stone. The third miracle, when Yaakov Avinu arrived in Haran, what happened in Haran? He met Rachel in a well, and they used to cover the well with big, huge stone that you need at least 4 or 5 shepherds, if not more, to pick up that stone over the well, because they didn't want any chochos to fall, anything to fall into the well. Yaakov Avinu himself, listen to that, pick it up in the age of 77 and move the big stone. That was the third. The fourth miracle that happened, that when Yaakov Avinu stood in the front of the well, the water came up. That means that he didn't have to draw water. Not only that, Hazal say, listen to that, that as long that Yaakov Avinu was with Lavan in Haran, the water in that well, they never have to draw water. The water always gush up, came up, and people used to just put the vessel and to collect the water. They didn't have to draw the water from down of the well. That was the fourth miracle. The fifth miracle that happened, that say Yonatan ben Uziel, that on the same day that Yaakov Avinu left Beersheba, okay, he arrived where? In Haran, like we explained earlier. So we see from here, why is it say Haran with the letters Hey, to tell us that the gematria of the letters Hey is 5. To explain to us that 5 miracles happened to Yaakov Avinu when he left Haran. Now, we say something very interesting that happened in the next verse. And the next verse, I'm going to read it quick. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but it says like this, ויפגע במקום, וילן שם, כי בא השמש, ויקח מאבני המקום, וישם מראשותיו, וישכב במקום ההוא.
Encountered the place and spent the night there because of the sun had set, and took from the stone of the place which he arranged around his head, and he lay down on this place.
Now, if you look carefully, something very interesting happening. The word makom, that its place, mentioned 3 times. ויפגע במקום, וילן שם, כי בא השמש, ויקח מאבני המקום, okay? וישם מראשותיו, וישכב במקום ההוא. Again, the word place mentioned 3 times. Why? So a beautiful commentary that bring in Rabbi Yaakov Baal HaTurim. And Rabbi Yaakov Baal HaTurim say, from that it's mentioned 3 times makom, and it's speaking about the place that Yaakov Avinu slept. Where is that? In Har HaMoriah. He said that the 3 times come to tell you it's the 3 festival that the Jewish people have to go to that place. What does it mean? That 3 times a year, in that Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, the Jewish people have to go to Har HaMoriah when Bet HaMikdash was exist. That means, 3 פעמים בשנה יראה כל זכורך את פני האדון. That means that here, already HaKadosh Baruch Hu hint to Yaakov Avinu that this place that you slept, that will be the place that your children will have to come and to show their face to me 3 times a year. And that's what it's mentioned 3 times, the place 3 times, the word place. That's why it's mentioned. Let's move to verse 12. And here it says something very interesting. Now we're going to speak about the dream. V'hayachalom, v'ine sulam, nutzav arza, u'rosho megia hashamayim, v'ine malche Elohim, olim v'yordim bo.
And he dreamt, and behold, a ladder was set earthwards, and it stops, reached the heavenswards, and behold, angels of God were ascending and descending on it.
Okay, so you all know the dream that Yaakov Avinu dreamed, that was a stepladder that actually was standing here on earth and reached the heaven, and the angel of HaKadosh Baruch Hu basically climbing up and down on it. But we have to understand what's hiding behind it. And we explained something very interesting in the previous year regarding the stepladder. What does it mean? But today I'm going to open a different way to look at it. When I prepare the show, I look at the book. It's a very, very interesting book that I always look to get some new ideas, more depths, very, very depths of showing. And it's called, the book called Imre Noam of Arav Yoram Abarzel. And on Parashat Vayeitzei, he explained what it means Sulam. So Hazal explained that Sulam means Gematria Tfilah. That's what the Baal HaTurim explained. What it means Sulam, Begematria Kol Shakul Tfilah. That means that it's equivalent to Tefillah. And what does it come to tell us? We have to understand what's hiding behind. So Rabbi Yoram Abargel explained something extraordinary. That here HaKadosh Baruch Hu come to hint, to Yaakov Avinu, come to hint to us that one of the most important things that we have in life is tefillah. What it means tefillah? Speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and here HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually telling us that tefillah, although that most of the people doesn't take tefillah seriously, what it means doesn't take it seriously, many people look at tefillah, it's something like, I come, I daven, and I want to get over it with it, get on with it, and finish with it. Come and tell us the Torah, say Rabbi Yoram Abargel, that the Torah come into us, that many of us look at the tefillah like it's something not so important. But the Torah come and tell us that tefillah is the most important thing. As a matter of fact, tefillah is one of the powerful things that we have in this earth. What does it mean? It says, "Ve'asulam, v'ine sulam mutzav arza." The step letter actually in earth. Many people look at the tefillah like it's not important. But v'rosho megia shamayma. It says in the power of tefillah, if you take it seriously, and you look at the tefillah and you see the powerful that there is behind the tefillah and the greatness, okay, that the person can reach with tefillah, he can reach up to the top of the heaven. What does it mean? That means if a person take the tefillah seriously and he daven from the deep of his heart, he can reach to the heaven. What does it mean, reach to the heaven? Many of us, when we want something, we daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please help me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please give me parnasa, health, wealth, all the things that the person wants. We just ask in a tefillah. He said, but you know how you can achieve all of this? When you look at the tefillah in a different way. When you take the tefillah and you understand that the tefillah is the most greatest thing, the tefillah is the most powerful thing, that you can reach where? To the heaven. And if you understand that with the tefillah, you can reach to the heaven, that's when the tefillah gonna make his impression in heaven. That's when a person comes and standing in the front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with full kavanah, with full depth, with full powerful and understanding. What is a tefillah? It can reach the heaven. But has v'shalom, it says sulam mutzav arza. What does it mean mutzav arza? Standing on the ground. He said that the sulam, that the person has v'shalom, that want to climb on a step ladder, that is very shaky. As a matter of fact, it's very dangerous. When a person daven a tefillah, that he come and start at the middle of the tefillah, a person come and jumping, skipping certain part of the tefillah, that's become very dangerous. And then Hinocha asked why HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't listen to his tefillah. Because if you skip words, if you skip part of the tefillah, if you're jumping to the tefillah or you come a halfway through the tefillah, how you expect that the tefillah gonna make impression on heaven? So it's come to tell you that the gematria of sulam, it means call. Call is a voice. What it means voice, it means shakul ketfilah. tefillah. What it means, tefillah? That it's davening, that if you take that sulam, it's come to hint to you how important is the davening. And if you take your davening and you focus on it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will accept your davening and will give you whatever you want. Why? Because then your davening can reach the heaven. But has v'shalom, if you not serious about your davening, you come halfway through, or you skip, or you start here and you jump here, certain words you don't say. Where's that tefillah go? It can never reach the heaven. It's like a shaky stepladder, and that's more dangerous. The second idea of the word sulam that I would like to share with you is the word sulam mean mammon. Mammon mean money. And the commentary that I'm actually going to bring is the commentary of the Gaon Hida. Rabbi Haim Yosef David Azulai, he born in Jerusalem 297 years ago. He wrote a book, Midbar Kedemot. And his book, Midbar Kedemot, Ma'arechet Aleph, that means, call it chapter 1. Ot Gimel, that means verse 3. Then he bring a very, very important midrash. I don't know how many of you know it. I'm sure that most of you know it. And he said like this, listen to that. He said when Yaakov Avinu escaped, or when he departed from Beersheba, Esav realized that he left. He sent his son Eliphaz. Eliphaz was the father of Amalek. Okay? Eliphaz chased and he caught Yaakov Avinu, and by the command of his father, Esav told his son Eliphaz to kill Yaakov Avinu. He hold of Yaakov and he said to Yaakov Avinu, listen, my father commanded me to kill you. But Eliphaz was Talmid Hacham. He knew a lot of Torah. He was a wicked, but he knew Torah, the same like his father. So Yaakov Avinu said to him, Chazal tell us that 3 people considered dead. A person that doesn't have kids, a person that is blind, and a poor person. Consider as dead people. Take all my wealth, take everything that I have. And then I'm considered like a dead person. Eliphaz agreed. But he said to Yaakov Avinu, I'll take everything. What is he took? Even his clothes. He left Yaakov Avinu naked. Hazal say in the Midrash. Yaakov Avinu was so embarrassed. He left naked. He gone and hide in the bush by the river where there's a little bit of bush. He hide there. He said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send me the salvation. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu did. A horse rider arrived, and it was a hot day, the Midrash said, and he came into the river to cool himself, and he drowned. Yaakov Avinu sat and he saw that, because he was hiding in a bush, took his clothes and took his horse, and with that he arrived to Haran. Now you have to understand, Yitzhak Avinu was the richest among all the forefathers. Yaakov Avinu grew up in a house of the richest man. Nothing was short. Whatever Yaakov Avinu wanted to have. What's happened? The word mammon come to teach us money. HaKadosh Baruch Hu come to tell us that the stepladder standing here on earth, but facing the heaven, it's come to tell us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gonna test Avraham Avinu with 2 tests. Poverty, poorness, and richness. How's Yaakov Avinu gonna behave? And we know that Yaakov Avinu been tested first with poorness. And when he never complained, and he said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gonna send me his salvation. And he saw that he never complained. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, that mutzav arza, the test of poverty you passed. The next test you're gonna have is the test of richness. That means sulam is money, There is money down, has v'shalom, poverty, but from the other way, it's reached the heaven, that when you're very rich. And Yaakov Avinu become very rich. And we know that Yaakov Avinu never changed himself. Ishtam Yoshev Ohalim. Hazal tell us. That means that the Sulam come to tell us that he's standing here on earth, facing the earth, that Yaakov Avinu, the first test was with poverty. Then, when he left the house of Lavan, he was a rich man. He still didn't change. That's Rosho Megiya Shamayim. Akadosh Baruch Hu test Yaakov Avinu with two different difficult tests. When you're very rich, and then you go to poverty, and when you're rich, how are you going to behave again? And Yaakov Avinu was modest and humble even when he was rich. To tell us that Akadosh Baruch Hu tested Yaakov Avinu with two tests. And that's what the Sulam come to tell us. What's hinting behind us, and the head of the step ladder reaching the heaven. Gematria of Sulam Mammon, that means money, that here Akadosh Baruch Hu telling us in the Holy Torah that he tested Avraham Avinu with poverty on one side, and later on, when he was rich, how is he going to be here? And Yaakov Avinu, we all know, Baruch Hashem, managed to stand all of these tests. Yaakov Avinu never changed. He had a full trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he knew whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu do, he do for good. That means that it's come to teach us the emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How much we have to be strong in our emunah to believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Let's move on to verse 20. I think that I would like to try to manage to catch a few more because we're running very, very late on the show. Okay, verse 20, it says something very interesting. Vayidor Yaakov neder le'emor, אם יהיה אלוהים עמדי, ושמרני בדרך הזה, אשר אנוכי הולך, ונתן לי לחם לאכול ובגד ללבוש.
Then Jacob took a vow, saying, if God will be with me, will guard me on this way that I am going, will give me bread and to eat and clothes to wear.
Okay. Many of the Mefarshim wanted to understand what's happening here. Yaakov Avinu in this verse emphasized that bread to eat. Obviously bread to eat. What do you do with the bread if not to eat? Clothes to wear. Obviously clothes is to wear. What do you do with the clothes? Why is the Torah put so much emphasis on that Yaakov Avinu, when he took the oaths, he said bread to eat and clothes to wear. I saw a beautiful commentary of Marshal Moslontino. Rabbi Shlomo Levy, he born in a city of Risha in Galicia. He born 178 years ago. And he wrote the book, Marshal Moslontino. And he said like this, listen what he said. He said that here, Yaakov Avinu come to teach us something very important, that we can't take things for granted. He said, lechem le'echol, that many people think that they have bread to eat. He said that here he come to teach us a musar, Yaakov Avinu. There's many people that can afford to eat more than a bread, but lo alenu, velo al af echad me'am Yisrael, that there's certain people that they cannot eat gluten. They're suffering from eating bread. They have the money, like you can't believe, that they can buy a bakery. But unfortunately, they have a disease or they have a sickness that they cannot eat bread. They're suffering from what we call gluten. So say Yaakov Avinu, lechem le'echol, give me bread that I can eat and I can benefit from it. that the bread that I'll eat, it will be for my own health. What it means, beged lilbosh? That it said beged lilbosh. That is, many people have a full drawer, full of suit, full of shirt, full of trousers, beautiful clothes, but they cannot benefit from it. Lama, why? Say like this. He explained like this, Rabbi Shlomo Lev, that sometimes lo alenu, people lying in bed, not feeling well. Lo alenu v'lo al af echad me'am Yisrael. So those people, although that they have a full drop of clothes and they can enjoy it, unfortunately, they're not going to enjoy it. Why? Because they're sick. Or from the other way, lo alenu, these people, when they're mourning, when the year of mourning on a shiva, that they cannot wear clothes. It's come to tell you, beged lilbosh, that when you wear your new clothes, appreciate, have the appreciation to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means you ask for HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the physical health, okay, and the spiritual health. And that's what we say, refuat hanefesh or refuat haguf. That means it's not enough just to eat. It's good also for the nefesh, that the soul gonna be strong, that the person gonna be healthy, that the person gonna be emotionally focused and understanding that everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the emphasis that Yaakov Avinu put on this word, that it says, lechem le'echol ubeged lilbosh. How important is it that a person can eat, okay, and the clothes that he had, he can dress and he can walk with them and he can enjoy with them. And that was what's hiding behind this verse. Now I'm going to skip to chapter 29, verse 7. Yeah, yes, verse 7. Yeah, and there, Louis 29:7.
Yeah, 29:7. Yeah, I've got it.
הן עוד היום גדול, לא עת, יאסף המקנה, השקו הצאן, הולכו ורעו.
And he said, look at the day, it is still long. It is not yet time to bring the livestock in, water the flock and go on grazing.
Okay, on the Pshat of the Dvarim, we see that the Torah tells us that Yaakov Avinu here speaking to the shepherd. And he tells them, listen, the day is still long, the sun not gonna sunset yet. Not only that, take the flock, don't pick them up yet, let them drink, let them go and eat on the field. And many of them ask, what's happening here? What's happening here? Vachabiki, Mr. Yaakov Avinu, what's happening here? What are you telling us? Why you have to tell that to the shepherd? What, the shepherd doesn't know that the day is still long? I saw a beautiful commentary of Rabbi Aryeh Lev Tzins. Rabbi Aryeh Lev Harif, also they call him, Lev Harif. Aryeh Tzins, Rabbi Aryeh Lev Tzins. He born in Poland 253 years ago. He wrote the book Meloa Omer. And in his book is a commentary on the Parashat Shavua. Listen what he explained. He say Yaakov Avinu here telling the shepherd, listen, it's not the time to collect all the flock, the livestock. Why? Because they saw, when he arrived the day before, the sunset set 2 hours before. HaKadosh Baruch Hu shortened the day by 2 hours. We explained the beginning of the Sheol. What happened? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted that Yaakov Avinu will sleep in Har Moriah. So what is he done? He shortened the day by 2 hours. When Yaakov Avinu slept in Har Moriah, we saw the dream of the stepladder. We explained what is hiding behind the stepladder. But why is Yaakov Avinu suddenly tell the shepherd what to do? Explaining Rabbi Aryeh Lev Harif. He said that suddenly he see that Yaakov Avinu see all the shepherds collecting the the livestock, all the flock, putting them together to take them back. Yaakov Avinu said to them, hey, what happened yesterday, doesn't mean that the weather changing, the season is changing. Not at all. The season is still the same. What happened yesterday, it was because HaKadosh Baruch Hu shortened the days. It was a coincidence. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu changing the day only yesterday. Don't worry. The day is still long. It's still summer. That means that the sun not going to set so early. It's still summer. You don't have to collect the livestock of the flock so quickly. You have another 2 hours. Let them drink, let them go and graze around in the field. Don't be in a rush to collect them. And that's what Yaakov Avinu tell the shepherd, that what they saw in the previous day, what happened in the previous day, doesn't mean that the season is changed and the time now getting shorter and sunset gonna come earlier. Not at all, nothing changed. And now we can understand why did Yaakov Avinu tell that to the shepherd. With your permission, I'm gonna move to chapter 31. Louis 31, I'm skipping quite a bit because the time is just flying. Chapter 31, verse 34, okay? And there we see something very interesting. Here we see that the Torah telling us that Rachel Imenu took the statues of her father. Let's read it. ורחל לקחה את התרפים, ותשם בקר הגמל, ותשב עליהם, וימשש לבן את כל האוהל ולא מצא. בכבוד.
Now Rachel has taken the terapin, put them into the camel's pack saddle and sat on them. Laban rummaged through the whole tent, but found nothing.
We see here that the Torah make a lot of emphasis in that number one, Rachel stole her father's idol. Number two, the Torah tells us that not only that she stole it, she put it in a cushion and she sat on him. Why does the Torah have to tell me that Rachel stole them and not enough that she steal those statues? She sat on him. What difference does it make to me? She hid it and good enough, finish. So to understand that, I saw it in a book. I saw it in one of the Mefarshim, and then I wanted to see the main source. The main source is in Midrash Tanhuma in Parashat Vayeitzei, Yud Bet, Ot Yud Bet. That means verse 12. Parashat Vayeitzei, chapter 12, verse 12, doesn't make a difference. And he explained what's happening here. He explained that number one, you have to understand that those statues, those idols that Rachel took from Lavan, those statues of Lavan, they used to speak. Speak. On the pshat of the Dvarim, Hazal said that she stole that. You know why? That they will never tell her father when Yaakov and his wife and the children escaping, because they're going to tell Lavan that they're escaping. That's on the pshat of the Dvarim. What's hiding behind it? We'll see now. They were speaking. How did they make the statue work? I looked and Midrash Tanhuma explained. What did they used to do? Listen to witchcraft. They used to take a firstborn male and they used to slaughter him. And then they used to embalm him. Okay, listen to that. With honey, listen to that carefully. Embalm him in salt and perfume. Then they used to take a gold plate and they used to engrave on it the Avodah Zarah, what it means Avodah Zarah, the name of those Holy Spirit, and they used to put it under the tongue of that person that they slaughtered, And they used to hang him. And they used to stand and bow down and light candle, and he started whispering to them. He started talking to them. That means that the evil spirit used to talk to them. And say like this, listen to that. Say Midrash Tanhuma. That's what the statues and the idol of Lavan used to do. So Rachel stole them. But then the Torah told us that not only that she stole them, that they wouldn't reveal to her father where they are, she sat on him. And all the Mefarshim said, okay. So when she stole them, I understand, they never talk. But when Yaakov Avinu, met with Lavan, Lavan starts saying to him, listen, you stole my statues. Why did you steal my statue? Yaakov Avinu said to him, I didn't steal it. So he starts searching from one place to another place, from tent to tent, from person to person. When he arrived at Rachel, why is those statues didn't start talking? The Mefarshim say, you're telling me that they was talking. They can tell, they can reveal things. How come that suddenly they don't talk? Lavan standing next to them. Said the Midrash Tanhuma, something extraordinary. Listen to that. Hazal explain. By that the Torah tell us that Rachel stole them, that was number one. But the Torah also tell us, what does it say? Vatasem bekar hagamar, she put him in a holster and she sat on him. Vateshev alehim. What does it mean, Vateshev alehim? That she sat on top of Avodah Zarah. Hazal explained that you know why they couldn't talk? Because Rachel humiliated them. Because we say for them to speak, you have to light candle and to bow down to show them respect. Here come Rachel. Not only that she put him inside the holster, she sat on him to humiliate him. But we have to understand, what did she say to her father? In verse 35, ותאמר אל אביה, אל יחר בעיני אדוני, כי לא אוכל לקום מפניך, כי דרך נשים לי, ויחפש, ולא מצא את התרפים. Verse 35.
She said to her father, let not my Lord be angered that I cannot rise up before you, for the way of woman is upon me. Thus is this, that he searched, but he did not find the terrapin.
Okay, here we see something that Rachel said to him, you know why I can't get up? Because I have the cycle of the woman that have once a month. Immediately all the Mefarshim say, oh, what's happening here? Rachel lying to her father that she can't stood up because she have the cycle. How can it be? What's happening here? Rachel would lie, Rachel imenu. Said the Gaon Mevina, Has v'shalom. The Gaon Mevina, Rabbi Eliyahu ben Shlomo Mivilna, he born 301 years ago. There is some say that he born in Vilna, some say he born in Lita. It doesn't make a difference. Say Rabbi Yaakov, say the Rabbi Eliyahu Mivilna, the Gaon Mivilna, the Agra. Listen to that. He said when Rachel said that she have the cycle, that she's nida, let's call it nida, that's the proper word. She didn't lie. Why? Because the Torah tells us specifically, what did it say? Vateshev ala terafim. That means that she sat on, Vateshev aleim, that she sat on the statues, on the idols. Chazal in the Mishnah and Masechet Shabbat, and I checked it yesterday, I wanted to see. Chazal says something extraordinary. In chapter 9, Mishnah Aleph, Chazal say, Manida when a person carry avodah zarah, when he sit on avodah zarah, he become tameh lakenida. That means when a person sit on avodah zarah, idols, he become, okay, unpure, the same lakenida. So Yaakov, Rachel Imenu say to Lavan, listen, I'm sitting on top of the cushion and I can't get up. You know why I can't get up? Because I'm him nida. And she didn't lie. Because now she become a nida. How she become unpure? Because she sit on idols. It's mean to teach us something very important, this pasuk come to tell you. You know, we read this verse, ורחל לקחה את תרפים, ותשם בקר גמל, ותשב עליהם. Okay, וימשש לבן את כל האוהל, ולא מצא. Like simple, like everything is like running on a pshat of the dvarim. But when you look depths into it, you know why the Torah put emphasis on that. Number one, Rachel stole it. Why? So they're not going to reveal to her father that they're planning to run, that they get running, that they're escaping. Number two, why did she put it on a holster and sit on him? Why it was so important? Because she humiliated the avodah zarah. And if you humiliate the avodah zarah, you can't talk. Number three, when she said that she already nida, she didn't lie. Because Hazal tell us that if you sit on top of idols or you carry idols, it's considered like you are unpure like a nida. And now we can understand a little bit about this Parashat Vayeitzei. Now I would like to go to the Haftarah. And the Haftarah, I'm going to actually make it very quick because the time is late. I don't want to keep you because it's already 9:30. It's in Haftarah, and the Haftarah start like this. ויברח יעקב שדה ארם, ויעבוד ישראל באישה, הוא באישה שמר. בכבוד.
Okay. My people.
No. ויעקב ברח. That's where it's going to start, the Haftarah. It's mean in 13. Look at 13, verse 13.
13. Oh, okay. All right. Ephraim surrounded me and lies, and in the house of Israel with deceit. But Judah enforced the mastery of God, and is faithful to his Holy One.
Okay, you read chapter 13, verse 13. Verse 13. Look at verse 13, Louis. Verse 13.
Verse 13.
Yes. Yaakov barach, and Jacob escaped.
Hang on now.
Just before chapter 13.
Just before chapter 13.
Verse 13. Chapter 12, yes. Verse 13.
What Ephraim provoked with bitter sin. That one?
No. Chapter 12, verse 13. And Jacob escaped.
Chapter 12.
That's where we're going to start. That's where we're going to start the Haftarah on Shabbos. You see, it's Ashkenazim start. That's where the Ashkenazim start the Haftarah.
11, 12. 12 or 13?
Yeah.
Yes.
Chapter 12, verse 13.
Okay. If travail befalls Gidla.
No, it's not that. Anyway, I'll say it in English. Yaakov barach sde Aram, and Jacob, Yaakov Avinu fled to the Aram.
Israel labored for a wife, and for a wife he tended sheep.
That's it. What does it mean? Tomorrow on Shabbos, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to read this Haftarah. That's where we're going to start. That's where the Haftarah starts for the Ashkenazim. And we have to understand what does it mean. Many of the Mefarshim say, the Haftarah tell us here in Treasar and Oshaya that Yaakov Avinu gone to Aram Naharaim. And we know that the Midrash tell us that all the forefathers kept all the Torah. One of the mitzvot that we have is that not to leave Eretz Israel. If you live in Eretz Israel, you can't go to the diaspora. So how come did Yaakov Avinu left Eretz Israel and go to the diaspora? So Hazal said, continue, read the verse, Vayavod Israel Ba'isha. The main reason that Yaakov Avinu have to go to the diaspora, to go to Aram, to find a wife, to find his own matchmaking, you know? So when Yaakov Avinu left Eretz Israel, he didn't left for pleasure. He gone because he met a wife there, and the wife was waiting for him there. And later on, after he finished to work for Leah, after he finished to work for Rachel, he brought all of his wife and he came to Eretz Israel. That's me. Say Hazal, from here you learn halacha. What is the halacha that you learn? That to leave Eretz Israel, if you want to go to find a wife or parnasa, that's when you're allowed to leave Eretz Israel. Otherwise, certain people want to go, they go to overseas. Why did they leave Eretz Israel? You know why? Because for pleasure, for whatever is it. So no, only when it's to find a wife or for parnasa, only then you can leave the Holy Land. And that's what the Torah come to teach us. That means a person that was allowed to go now, Yaakov Avinu was allowed to go now to Haran. You know why? Although that he kept all the Torah, because he's going to find his future wife. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should all merit to say Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our days, and the building of Ted Bet HaMikdash, and then we're all going to merit to do Aliyah to Eretz Israel. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon. Be'ezrat Hashem, if you have any question regarding the Parsha, I will try and answer. Bechavod, everyone. Whoever want to ask a question. Bechavod.
So, Rabbi, the Maariv, did Yaakov institute them?
Stephen, I missed you. Speak to the microphone slowly. Yes.
So the Maariv prayer was that Yaakov instituted the Maariv prayer. So when he davened it, the sun was going down, and he instituted Maariv. Exactly.
Ah, yes. Very, very, very good question. Very good question. You ask who instituted the davening, nachon?
Yes, the Maariv, yeah, the Maariv prayer.
Oh, very good, very good, very good, very, very, very good. So we have to understand something very, very important here. Avraham Avinu Institute, Tfilat Shacharit. Yitzhak Avinu Mincha. Yaakov Avinu Arvit. Now listen to that. Stephen, listen to that carefully. What is the second letters in the name of Abraham? Bet. What it mean bet? Boker. Boker is Tfilat Shacharit.
Sure.
The second letters in the name of Yitzhak, Tzadik, Tzohoraim. That's mean Mincha.
Sure.
You follow? Yaakov, what is the second letters?
Aleph, yeah.
You understand? Ain. Why Ain? Erev. It means Arvit.
Sure.
So from here you see who constitute the Tfilot. Avraham Avinu Shacharit, Yitzhak Avinu Mincha, Yaakov Avinu Arvit. Beseder?
Yeah.
And I giving you how to work it out. The second letters of the name help you to find which tefillah they constitute. Okay?
Okay.
Good.
Wow.
Any other question?
Yeah. That was with the base of Mikdash already. We slept years later. That's when the base of Mikdash was can be built. And that's Maria, that the stones when it came.
Yes.
12 steps.
Yeah, that's it. Jeffrey, you wanted to ask. Bechavot, Jeffrey.
Yes, I just wanted to ask a question. You mentioned now in the Haftorah, and when we were discussing the only way you can lead Israel is if you want to find a wife, you go, or it's Parnasa, or whatever it may be. So I was just thinking, is it not when Yaakov said he wanted lechem lechol, and then he wanted to have clothes, isn't it Yaakov's actually saying, I want to be able to earn a living, lechem. I like to earn in order that I can clothe myself.
Yeah, but just remember, Yaakov Avinu didn't have to work. His father was a rich man. He had everything. He given him everything. But only when he left,
yes, he lost
now he need also bread to eat. Nachon? Beautiful. Beautiful idea. I never thought about it. Beautiful, Jeffrey. Beautiful. Well done. Any other questions?
Hello, it's Anthony. Can you hear me?
Sure, I can hear you, Antonio. How can I not hear you?
It says in chapter 29, verse 33, and she conceived again and bore a son and declared, because Hashem has heard that I'm unloved. That was Leah who said, I'm unloved. Why did she feel unloved, Leah?
Because the Midrash tells us that Leah was supposed to marry who? Esav. And Chazal, the Midrash say, Hagdola lagadol, the older one, to who? To Esav. Because Leah and Rachel was twin. Yaakov and Esav was twin. So people say the older one, the older daughter to the older son. That's to Esav. The younger one to Yaakov, that's Rachel. When Leah heard that she have to marry Has v'Shalom Esav, ve'inei Leah rakot. Why is the eyes of Leah soft? Because she was crying, Hazal explained. Why she was crying? Because she davened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and cried that she don't want to marry Esav. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened to her davening, and she married to who? To Yaakov. But Yaakov, who was his main wife? Rachel. Leah felt it, that she's not number one. So she was always felt like a second. And she davened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu done? If you look, he given her firstborn, he given her Reuven, Shimon, and Levy. You understand?
Six sons.
Yes. But why Reuven, Shimon, and Levy first? Before Zilpah and Bilhah, and before Rachel, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw how much she's down to earth and feeling up, not arrogant, although that she married Yaakov Avinu and she had children from him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Pasuk come to teach us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu love humble people. Those that feel like they're not really great, those that feel very humble. HaKadosh Baruch Hu love those. And that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened to her first and given her first kids before the others. You follow, Antonio?
Yes, I follow. Okay. Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Any other question? No. There's no more question. Rabota, I'm sorry to keep you so late, but we start the show at 8:30. It's an hour and 15 minutes. I try to accelerate as much as I can. To wish you all Shabbat Shalom, All of you enjoy the Shabbos, enjoy the Parsha when you read it, and I'll hope that it'll give you a different idea to look at the Parsha. All of you, keep well, keep safe. Shabbat Shalom, umvorechet lachem, ולכל בני המשפחה. Please, God, have a good Shabbos to you and all your family.
Amen.
Have a good night. All the best. Good night, everyone.
Good night and Shabbat Shalom to you, Rabbi.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.